Hello, welcome to Mart's Garage. It's rather cold here today, so I'm wearing my padded overalls. Better than that scruffy old coat. I'm at the stage now where I need to marry the 59 flathead and the 32 project and bring them into one project. The motor is fully assembled up, other than all the ancillaries, and the chassis is sitting there waiting for it. So what do I need to bolt that motor in then? I need a pair of water pumps and a transmission. So the water pumps go on here, and they are the engine mounts in effect, and the transmission goes on here and supports the back of the engine and gearbox unit. Here in this box I have a rebuilt water pump. So here's a water pump, and as you can see, that is the one that goes on the left hand side of the vehicle, because there's the engine mount. So I've had a look through the water pumps that I've got, and I've got this one. And this one goes on the right hand side of the vehicle. It is actually the one that came with the 59 flatty. So I thought, well, it'd be good to try and use this. So this is the water pump that came with that motor. One of them. The other one was a truck pump. And the casting looks okay. It's not damaged. And it does actually turn with some resistance, and I can feel movement there, and I can't quite feel movement in that direction. So that's a pump that I will try and rebuild. Either that, or I could just bolt it on and see if it leaks, but chances are it will. So that's one of the jobs I'm going to do. Here is a water pump kit. I've had this a few years, but I will use parts from this to rebuild that, whatever needs doing. Okay. Right, so that's the first thing. Here's the water pump. This is a rebuilt unit. I saw these on Rock Auto, and they were available briefly, and I bought one when they became available. So hopefully that will be ready to go. That's a reconditioned one. So that's the one for the one side, and that's the one for the other side. Hopefully, you know, that'll work okay. Okay. So that's the first job. Not the first job, but the first thing to take into consideration. Okay. There is a 3-speed box. This is a open drive gearbox, and I believe it's from a F1 pickup. Now, even though most of the events last year were cancelled, the one event that did go ahead just before the corona thing kicked in full time was the swap meet, and I bought this at the swap meet. I've had a look inside, and the synchro ring there looks worn out. This one looks okay, looks like it's been replaced. That's got 16 teeth. and generally it doesn't look too bad. It looks kind of serviceable. But the thing is, this is a gearbox for open drive. My 32 is closed drive or torque tube drive. So I need to convert this to torque tube drive. I've gone through my stash of spare parts and I have got this shaft, which I believe do you know something? I'm looking at it, I'm not sure now. Anyway, I'm hoping this is the right shaft for this gearbox to make it torque tube drive, and it does look in good condition. The other thing that I had in my stash of spares was something that I bought off UK eBay. Synchronizer assembly gearbox. So I'm hoping, well, what I was really pleased to see was it's got brand new synchro rings on it. So there's 2 new synchro rings on that, plus everything else is brand new. So I'm thinking if I put that in, that'll be good, won't it? And I can fit that shaft. So I'll put those in, put that in, and hopefully everything else can just be reassembled up. I keep looking as if, to me, as if the helix on those is a sharper helix than that. I'll get it apart and have a look. If not, I might need one of these that will match that. Okay. So those are the jobs that I need to do to put the engine and gearbox and everything in the car. I've got here a good usable universal joint, so that will also be needed for the conversion. When you look at these early Ford joints and you're thinking, oh, is it worn out or what? When you see that free play like that, that's fine, nothing wrong with that. And when you see it like that, nothing wrong with that. As long as when you grab hold of them, you can't rotate them relative to each other. I'm trying to twist it like that. That's fine. So that can be used. That and that can be used, and to do the job. The other thing that I want to do, and I'm not sure which job I'm going to do first. I'll soon, start working it out what I want to do. Oh, here we are. Here I've got some angle iron, 1-inch angle iron. So what I think I'm going to do is make a simple stand to hold this gearbox. So it'll come down like that, and then back like this. And what I'll probably do is leave that one there, that end, sticking forward like that, and put a piece on here so it will also stand up on end as well. Here are the 2 first pieces that I've just cut out, and the idea is that this will go on there like that. That piece there will be folded forward, and that piece on the end will be folded forward to create like a foot that sticks out in that direction, because you've got to make it stand off from this, you see. Hello again. Right, there's the 2 front pieces put into place. That one will go on there like that, and I'm just going to weld it on. Okay, there's my little stand. I was quite pleased then, because when I tipped the gearbox over, the little thing came out for the gear stick detent. So there we are, I've just got 4 bolts in it. Now what you have to, these two I believe are vertical. These two are not quite vertical because this bolt is set down a little bit from where that, because of the starter thing there. So it's a bit on the edge there. I may have slightly overcompensated that. Yeah, I might file that because it looks like it's sticking out a little bit. So that's how the gearbox can sit. I only just got it right there, look. It's just okay there. At least it's not too high, but that's pretty good, isn't it? It holds it nicely. There you go. I'll just show you how you can, it'll stand up on end as well, so, you know, that's useful, isn't it? Okay, I'll stop it there because the camera's about to go. Back in a bit. Start with a half, soon as it's at this end. Not sure if that thing's supposed to come off first, that bearing. Might be. Somebody's assembled this up with tons of, you know, silicone around it. Not ideal, but I just bent a screwdriver. A cheapo, you know, Captain Cheapo. There you go, that's it, that's all it took. Just need a little bit of something to get it moving. This table's pretty good, but the problem is, no, not a problem, but when you're filming, everything rattles around on it. I could get the old brup brup gun out, wouldn't I? Couldn't I? That would make things quicker, but, you know. It's not the end, it's the journey, isn't it? This clear silicone is very tenacious, you know, it really holds everything together. Oh, that's interesting. See that? Look, that's broke. I can see the other half of it. There. See that? That's interesting, isn't it? Academic though, because we're not going to use that. Okay, I've got to knock this pin out here. Interestingly, there wasn't a split pin in there. Interestingly as well, can you see how bent it is? Quite bent that. Right, from what I understand, you have to knock that out. Oh, it won't go forward because of the clutch thing. Ow. Sprung up and hurt my thumb then. Let's try a metal hammer. Can't understand why it doesn't want to go. It's moving. it's coming out okay actually. I've got this in here, look, and I'm pulling it out. I'm impressed at how tight it was. There we go. It also feels like it's in good condition as well. Feels really good actually. So what that does now, that allows the gear to fall down. So what it should be able to do is jiggle this one out now. I think this just goes out that way. These teeth don't look too great. So what I was interested in is, does this fit that other shaft? That looks like a more angled helix. Yeah, it don't go on. So I might be in trouble unless I've got one of these that fits that. That's a shallower angle, that helix. Do you know something? I'm tempted to actually, because everything looks in relatively good condition, I'm tempted to just leave that in there. Okay, I need to take stock. I think I can just leave all that in there, because all I'm doing in effect is trying to convert the shaft. But the only shaft I've got is this shaft. So what I need is a first gear, reverse gear sliding thing that fits this. Because that doesn't. Because I can see it now that this is more of an angle than that. I need to go in my other shed then and start looking for parts. I need a thing that goes on there. You've got to be careful with some of these commonalities between the, between the things. Okay, well there you go. Look, you've seen me disassemble it. I could just lift that gear out if I wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it sitting there, and the reverse one as well. But I'm quite pleased with that little stand. I think it works quite well. Thanks very much then. I'll bring you back when there's something more to show. Cheers then. Bye. So this gearbox, my intention was to just convert the output shaft. Now I've done this job before. I've taken an F1 box, convert it, make it into torque tube drive. And this is the shaft out of the F1 box that I converted before. And this is the shaft that I was going to use to do the conversion. And as you can see, that kind of goes like that. And converts it to, at that end down there, converts it to torque tube drive. This is the shaft out of this gearbox. This helix angle doesn't match that helix angle. This helix angle matches that helix angle. So the gears that were in this gearbox, I was able to use them on one of those shafts like that. And I was able to convert this gearbox to open drive, torque tube drive. This gearbox that's on the bench that had this shaft, I can't do that. The gears are subtly different. Now people that are into the early Fords know all this. That is the cluster gear from this gearbox. Every tooth on here has one less tooth than this one here. This is a 28 tooth cluster from an early Ford box. This piece and this piece were in my 41 pickup when I got it. And what I did, I'd got some virtually new old stock, one of these and one of these, in a 1529. This is 1628. I had a 1529 one, new old stock. So when I rebuilt the box in the pickup, because it had got a 3.54 to 1 axle, I went with the 1529 to give the lower first gear to compensate for the taller axle ratio. Okay, getting a bit technical, I know. So in this box for the 32, what I really want is a 1628, which I've got here. These are the ones that came out of the pickup truck. So these are what I'm going to use. Now, sorry, I got a little bit ahead of myself. So basically, all these gears here cannot be used for this conversion. They can only be used in a late F1 gearbox. And there doesn't exist a shaft that's like this with that helix angle. If I had a shaft like this with that helix angle, I could have done the conversion, but it doesn't exist, except maybe for some that were made special to do this conversion, but they don't exist. You can't lay your hands on them. They're, you know, like hen's teeth. They just don't exist. So basically, so what I hope I've got in amongst my box of spares here and all odd little bits and pieces that I've gathered over the years, what I hope I've got is enough parts to just basically completely re-gear this to the earlier type parts. So I've got this part and I've got that part and I've got bearings. This shaft that came out was in really good condition. I can use the lid, this part, I can use this top, I can use that top. I've got a new synchro unit which I need to check is it compatible. If not, I've got another one. So hopefully I've got enough parts to put this back together. So here's the case, and I'm not quite ready to start assembling, but basically I just wanted to tell you what I found, because I didn't know this, that these teeth are different. The helix angle on these teeth is different. Even the reverse gear idler is different because it has to match the helix angle on those ones. So I can't use anything from this gearbox. This gearbox did appear to be in very good condition. So it does have the light and desirable sort of casing, and it has the good top with the double detents. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to build this box and use it when I'm ready to put the engine into the chassis. Okay, I'll leave it at that for now then, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye. Hello, welcome to Mart's Garage. I'm going to continue with the build of this gearbox for the 32. It's an F1 pickup case, and I'm having to fit it with a complete new set of gears. When I say new, I mean old. So I've had a little bit of a tidy up. This is my little stand that I made, which works really well. Yesterday I fitted this shaft I bought this about 10 years ago. It's been lying around. It went a bit rusty, but I've cleaned it up a bit. And I've put that in. And this is the one from the, this release fork is the one from the pickup. And this bolt here, special bolt, is actually from a French military vehicle. And I filed it a bit to make it work with that fork. I tried to use the French fork, but the hole was a different diameter, the bore for the shaft. This is 7/8, so I put a 7/8 reamer through it because this was a bit getting stuck somewhere down there. This is a 32 lever. It's got that quite pronounced offset on it. And I remember driving down to Kent and I bought a 36 and a 32 gearbox, both of which were, well, not very good, but this lever was on the 32 box and I wanted that lever, so I bought the gearboxes. Plus, I think I used the casing. I used the casing from the 36 box. That's what actually in the Roadster. So here are the parts I'm going to use. There's a pair of good bearings. There's a spacer shaft. The spacer shaft. I'm going to use the shaft that came out of this box because it's in good condition and it was a really nice tight fit. That's the main drive gear or the input shaft from the gearbox that was in the truck. I don't know where this one came from, I can't remember. I don't know where that one came from. This outer sleeve is the one that was on that new synchro assembly that I had, but the actual middle bit is the one that came with the pickup because it's got the right spacing on it to suit that. And there's another one of these inside there, and this bearing is the one from the pickup, this gearbox, this F1 gearbox. These have all been cleaned, so, oh, and I've got those there. I'm not very happy about the thin one there, but it's the best one I've got. Well, it's the only one I've got, so that's what I'm going to have to use. I've fitted the reverse idler but haven't quite driven the shaft home because I was doing it but I wasn't filming. But what I did, I put that in there like that because you've got to judge that is in line with this drilling there, that drilling that goes through there. So, you know, you don't want to put it in like that. It's not going to go, is it? So you have to have it like that because this hole has to align with that hole. Okay, so I just wanted to show that. So what I'm going to do then, I'll leave the camera running and I'll start to put these things in. I'm not a transmission expert, but I've put a couple of these together. There are people with much more experience than me, people that do this all day, day in, day out. I've done a handful over the years, but they are pretty simple. Let me put this in the stand then. I did watch somebody take one apart the other day, and I was a little bit surprised because he these are the other way around, by the way. That's that end and this is this end. He took the synchro off to get the shaft out that way, whereas normally you take the bearing off and out and then the whole guts can come up like that, but that's how he chose to do it. Okay, so I'm going to start then by just tapping this home. Yeah, okay, that goes down through, so that's okay. The shaft is a nice tight fit, as was this one. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is put a little bit of grease in there, put the bearings in. I'll try and put some grease on these and kind of just drop that in. Because the idea is you put it in and you have it down, sitting down, then you put the rest of the shafts in, then you bring it up. So what I might do is thread something through that I can use to lift it. There's a bit of string there, so I'm just going to put that there like that. Which end has the end? I think the small end has the big one. I'll check it before I put it in, but I'll put that there for now. I'm kind of putting grease on here to kind of stick it in place. I wish I got a better one of these. Anyway, I haven't, so. If there are any expert builders that would like to put any comments, you know, oh Mart, it'd be better if you did it like this or did it like that, fine, great, I don't mind, because, you know, I'm not an expert. This isn't a how-to, this is a how Mart does it. Right, that's going to go in now, and it'll drop right the way down through. Okay. Okay, that's in. That's in. And lying down at the bottom there. Okay. Now, importantly, I've changed that because the tooth profile of the old one isn't compatible with these gears, so I've had to change that. Normally, if that piece is just in good condition, I'd have left it in place. Wouldn't have even bothered taking it out. Okay, so there's a little ring that goes on there, you mustn't forget that. And the circlip has to be good there. Check that everything's in place. So this is the rear shaft. So that goes through there like that. Like that. And then this is the front one. Now, I suppose you're not supposed to hammer. You're not supposed to hammer, are you, on the bearings? So let's see if I can just use this to drift it in. Okay, I think I could have saved this and put this in after. I'll take this back out again so I can reach down there and get that. That's just fell out. So that goes on there. So this threads through, and then, oh, it's fell off again. Okay. Importantly, I need to put this in. Okay, there's a little bit of grease on that. Oh, okay. Pick that synchro ring up for the third time. Okay. So, can you see down and in? So that's just slid into there now. I need a slinger on this oil seal, on this bearing. Oh, hang on a minute, I ain't put the slider on, have I? Okay, we'll treat that as a dry run. I forgot to put this on. Now, which way around does this go? That way? No, it goes that way, doesn't it? I'll put it on the way I think, and then I'll go and check. Right, so get this off again. Well, it can't be that way because, well, it could be, but I don't think it is. I think it's that way. This is virtually my last set of light type gears. Oh, that bloody thing's just fell off again. Okay, hang on. Let's try it in there. Oh, balls this up, haven't I? Shit. It won't go in now, will it? Got to put that. Put the input shaft in after. Okay, right. Take two. That's a shame because this is a nice tight fit in here. I told you I'm not an expert. Trouble is, every time you put things in and out, it's stretching the case, isn't it? The fit on the case. Let's see if that's enough clearance. I think it's going to have to come all the way out. Okay, at least that didn't go on the floor. Right, take two. So this goes in first, like that. Okay. Then this piece, making sure you've got that in, goes in from this end. That piece hopefully should go through that hole. Yep, that goes through that hole. The other bearing goes on there. This bearing goes on here. I'm kind of thinking I might be able to just put this in place to support. That feels nice and smooth, that bearing. So I'm kind of just muddling through this. I need to get that, maybe put that there and it'll rest on the reverse there. Okay, let's get this one started in here. Okay, that isn't fully home, but I'm just going to pause to check that nothing's getting stuck. Okay, continue. Okay, that's home now. So let's get this bearing, this one here, drifted up there now. haven't forgotten the shield. Okay, before I go any further, I need to check that I've got the small and the large bearings in the right end. Well, I'll just carry on. I think it's right. If it ain't, I'll have to take it apart again. So which is the tight bit? This bit? Oh, it's not tight on this casing, look. Okay, fair enough. Because that just... So I need to continue hammering here, you see. I couldn't... Okay. Nice. Hope I've got this right. Okay, let's just do a sanity check. This is in the neutral position. Well, that's wrong then, isn't it? Oh, I think I've got it the wrong way around. I've got that piece the wrong way around. Oh, blimey. Okay. Okay, I'm going to double check that I've got those lower bearings incorrectly. Chances are, the way things have gone so far, I've probably got it wrong. But, you know, it serves as a good illustration that it's relatively simple to get these things together and apart. And you will notice that I didn't dismantle the synchro off the front of the shaft, which I saw somebody else do in a video. No disrespect. I appreciate anybody that cares to put flathead and early Ford content out. Have I got that one the right way around? I think I have. That's the right way, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. So that one there will go there now, and that should be in reverse now. That's in reverse, which it is in reverse. Doesn't seem to be very far in like that, but okay. Right, I will go and do some checking, and I will carry on when I've checked that detail. Okay, I've been in the house and I've just gone online and I had a look at Mac Van Pelt's website. Which is very helpful, so thank you for providing that information, Mac. And Mac's also given me some information when I was trying to do that thing with the mismatch of the thing, so he put me straight on that, and I finally understood what was going on. That's where the gears were not compatible for this conversion, so I've had to use a complete set of gears from another gearbox. So thank you very much, Mac, been very helpful. I have got it the right way around. The short bearing goes at the big end of the cluster gear, which is the way I put it. The long bearing goes at the smaller end. So the job that is left to do is basically I need to just get these things home because both of the bearings are a little bit out. But that's not mega important. What is important now is to lift the cluster gear and get the shaft in. Now I could do that, but I have made this stand so the gearbox can go on end. So what I'm thinking is that it might be easier to... I'm just going to push this back a bit. It might be easier to use gravity. Well, rather not use it to help me, but I think it'd be best to not be fighting against gravity when trying to move the cluster gear. Whoops. Okay. Okay, so put my finger down the hole there. Okay, that's kind of aligned now. See these thrust washers, you see? Okay, where's the hole? Okay, this is aligned, so what I think I'm going to do is start the shaft in the hole. And then deal with the front when I get down to there. This shaft's in nice condition. A word of warning. I've got 2 brand new reproduction shafts in the shed, but I'm not going to use them because they're undersized and you get a leak there and at the front. Oh, that's gone in quite nicely actually. Okay, so that is aligned very well, and this piece of string, you know, what a cheap and simple little thing, you know, to enable it to help. So I'm going to flip it back down. Getting heavy now. Right, let's just put my finger in here and feel the washers. It would be easier if this wasn't in the way. As soon as I've got a bolt on here, let me, I'll take this off. This one isn't machined there, so, but I'll just shape that bolt to suit. But because it comes in and out so easy, I might as well take it out. Then I can put my finger in there, use my finger to check that the bearings are aligned and just push this through. Now, I need to do the same thing. They feel like they're aligned. Yes, it's getting heavy now. I'm going to use this just to make sure the hole is aligned. I've just twizzled that around a little bit. I'm using that to align it, and as I turned it, it started in there, which it wouldn't have done if those bearings weren't aligned. So I'm hoping that just a gentle tappy tap on here will take it in now. I must be slightly out on my alignment, but I'm not going to well, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, to be honest. I'd rather not keep knocking the shaft in and out is what I'm trying to get at. Okay. That needs to go on further. I don't know if you saw what I did then. I put it up on end, but just sort of wedged this hammer under the input shaft, so the input shaft wouldn't want to come out. I think it has gone down a little bit, but It's okay. Yeah, it's like, you know, you're fighting one against the other. So, what can we take away from this? A couple of things. Should do a little, because that's basically done now, isn't it? Everything else is, you know, relatively simple. So let's just do a very quick roundup of the basic assembly and things that are useful. One, that was useful. A piece of string around the cluster gear allows you to draw the cluster gear towards the rest of the gears when it's ready, time to put the shaft in. Two, this stand is really good. It didn't take a lot to make it, just a bit of 1-inch angle iron. Three, put this in the right way around with the groove to the back. Four, put this shaft in before you put that shaft in. 5, the long bearing in the cluster gear goes towards the small end of the shaft. And continuing with that point, the short bearing goes in the pilot and the big end of the shaft. Now, there's both the short bearings are at this end of the transmission. The big bearing is the long bearing is that end. There's a short and there's a long. So the long one is on its own. It's the odd one, so it goes at the opposite end. There's 2 at this end, 2 short ones this end and 1 long one that end. I'm trying to think of ways of remembering it myself. What other care points is it worth noting? 6, the light F1 pickup gears are not compatible with the torque tube drive shafts, unless you find one of the very rare shafts that apparently have existed, but even Mac Van Pelt, one of the very, you know, world-renowned expert in these transmissions, says he's only ever seen 3, and they were probably made special for doing that conversion. There is another few things. This is a lighter gear set. If you have that piece there, if it looks like that, that's for an earlier gear set, where the synchro part, it is synchro, but it's what they call a constant load synchro. That's there, and the gears are different as well. That's what the synchro part on the gear looks like. It's shorter because that works directly and then goes on to there. So that's an early example of an early gear. So that's early, that's early. They're still good gearboxes with those. They're not as good as that though. This type of gear set was introduced in 1939, and Ford went to column shift in 1940. I don't know, but I think I would hazard a guess that this was a precursor to the column shift, because you do need lighter loads with a column shift, and this synchro setup works better with lighter loads than the old setup. So that's my theory. There you go then. If I'd have done it right the first time round, it would have been a lot quicker, wouldn't it? But, you know, hey, I say I'm not an expert. I've done a handful of these in my lifetime. You know, I don't do them all day, every day. Every vehicle I've got, I'm going to retract that. Every vehicle I've got except that coupe has a gearbox that I've put in it. The truck's got a gearbox that I've rebuilt. I rebuilt the Roadster gearbox, and I've done this one. I don't think I even rebuilt the gearbox that I had in that 40 coupe that I had. That gearbox in there is it's a 39 box, but it's the early synchro type. Only the Deluxe's got the later synchro. And it was, as far as I could tell, virtually new old stock. So I didn't mess with it, I just put it straight in like it is, and it works fine. The synchros aren't as good as the later boxes though, because of the design. But it is a really nice gearbox in there. And this represents probably virtually the last of my ability to build a box with light gears. I don't have any more light gear parts that I could use. I might be able to put together one more box with early gears from what I've got, but this is the last of my parts now. Okay, thanks very much for joining me in the garage then. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.